Ladies and gentlemen, it's Bama After Dark. You have reached the Bama Standard post game show. Before we get rolling, I want you to go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. If you're all about talking tonight, I want you in the chat. If you're watching the replay, we got to know your thoughts in the comment section. So be very active right now. But you're on live with Justin Riley. And with me, as always, is the living legend, Coach Smook. And we're here to talk about the revenge game. Alabama has defeated Texas A&M 24-20. Not quite the score we'd expected, but we're here. Coach Smook, I don't know where to begin. There is so many things to talk about. You know, first of all, how you feeling, brother?
Honestly, bro, I'm good with our players. I am good with our players. My concern is with our offensive coordinator and also and I'm gonna be honest, I'm concerned with where Nick Saban's head is as far as managing his staff.
Mm,
And I don't care. Greatest coach of all time. He ain't
greatest.
God. He's not Jesus. He's not
You
God.
sure
He's
he
not
can't walk on water? You sure? You
I'm
sure?
positive. I've seen him on that lake multiple
Yeah.
years. He drives that boat for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Like he, he's steering that boat for a reason. But man,
But you
that's
do realize right now that there's probably going to be a march assembled outside your house with those Bama Walmart fans with pitchforks and Sweet Home Alabama playing in the background
hey,
to
if they can come
take
up
you
to
away,
Virginia,
sir.
if they could come up to Virginia and want to give me that publicity, I will gladly record it and post it and bump these viewers up. Because at this point, man, why is Bill O'Brien not going? You know what I'm
I
saying?
agree. Well, one of the things that I was saying, I guess, since last week was that this game would be the on field interview for Bill O'Brien in terms of his next coaching destination. That this would be the game that he needed to be the most innovative, especially when it came to one Jalen Milroe. So I felt like, with that being said, we were going to see something much different than what we saw this past week. We weren't going to see the same old, same old. Jalen last week ran Bryce's offense because he had to. He didn't have the practice with the ones last week. He didn't run his package. He had to come in at a moment's notice and basically salvage what was there. And to his credit, he was able to pull it off. Made one of the most pivotal plays in the game against Arkansas. Did he look polished by any means? No. And we didn't expect that. But a lot of us felt going into this game that with a week of practice with the ones, and Lord willing, Bill O'Brien has that aha moment where he actually becomes the innovative genius that he led us all to believe, and that we were going to get a much better Jalen Milroe, an offense that was tailored to his skill set. We didn't get that at all. And I'm not going to sit here and throw Jalen Milroe under the bus. Did he make some mistakes that were on him? Absolutely. Those two costly turnovers, the fumbles, as well as the interception, that was on him. Absolutely. But my argument is, in regards to the turnovers, the fumbles, they probably don't happen if he's not put in a situation he was not comfortable in. He didn't need to be a drop back passer tonight. That's not his thing. That's not his MO. So why are you trying to force him to be a drop back passer, slinging bombs down the field, having your receivers run verticals when that ain't him?
Justin, you know what's crazy? We talk about how Jalen Hurts was so effective when it was his time as a starter his freshman year. I think we forget how he came in the USC game and the play calling changed completely from what
Did.
Blake Barnett was given. I don't think we realized it. And so when you think about the play calling, when you think about Bill O'Brien and what he has yet to show us in the two, what this makes the 20th game, correct? That he's been coaching us. It's got to be like number 20.
Somewhere around there. Yeah,
We played
absolutely.
15 games last year, right? And then
Right.
we're 6-0 now.
6-0. Yes.
Okay, so he's over that hump where we're trying to see what he's made of.
Hmm.
Honestly, most coaches, what they're made of after the first season. Because it wasn't like he was in a rebuilding year where he had to regroup on offense. He had experienced offense last year. He had the
Hmm.
most experienced offense in the SEC last year. So this year, why are you taking a step back when you literally have your same offensive weapons? Well, you've replaced those offensive weapons with the same type of talent. You have strong receivers. You have a great offensive line, a talented offensive line. You have a stable full of running backs, and you have a quarterback in Bryce Young who's just won the Heisman, just carried a team to a national championship in a quote unquote Nick Saban rebuilding year. And you still have yet to establish a true identity for this offense because you fail to use the personnel. Instead of using a system, you fail to use, and instead of using personnel, you try to force a system. And that's what's killing us. We're not this day and age, you can't be a systematic offense. You can't be a systematic team in this day and age and expect to continue to dominate. You know, one thing I give Kirby Smart credit for over at Georgia, and I hate the fact that Georgia is thriving like they are because I feel like that should be us. That should be us. We should have Todd Monken put Stetson Bennett in favorable positions. Like Stetson Bennett, he's nowhere near the athlete Jalen Milroe is. He doesn't have the arm talent Jalen Milroe has. He just gets put in favorable positions because he Todd Monken uses his weapons around Stetson. He doesn't put Stetson in situations. He doesn't make Stetson throw off platform. You know, he doesn't put Stetson in those situations consistently. He doesn't have Stetson drop back 30 times a game. Stetson drops him back 15 to 20 times a game. And guess what? He has two reads. And guess what's happening? Those reads aren't two fly routes on the same side of the field, running corner and the help, and the star corner to the safety to have a 3-on-2 matchup. Like this route concept is horrible. The route concepts are horrible that are being called. I don't know if he's putting responsibility on the receivers to make reads in these plays, and receivers aren't making right reads. But based off of what we've seen consistently, I'm not seeing any changes. Like as a receiver, I play wide receiver on high school and college level. I play all Army football. Like we've competed against college guys who didn't make it to the league just because they didn't go. And so
Hmm.
as a receiver, we had a lot of option routes. We had a lot of, and this is 2015, 2016. So we're not far in the past. You know, this is when that concept of offense, this read, this freestyle of spread offense is being introduced and accepted into the football as a whole. So if I'm grasping it at my age, these young kids, this is what they're being taught from their Pee Wee League now. My
It
son,
is.
10 and 12 years old, 10 and 11 years old, are being taught read routes. We didn't have that when I was growing up. We ran wishbone, we ran triple option, we
Yeah.
ran sweep. Like so, if you bring in an OC that doesn't is not capable of evolving to that, we're going to have problems.
I completely, excuse me, I completely agree. Now, you spoke about Kirby Smart and Todd Monken. First of all, kudos to Kirby Smart for finally no longer being stubborn and allowing Todd Monken to run the offense.
Correct.
And you see what a tremendous change that has made in Georgia's offense. Okay. Now, you spoke of Lane Kiffin when Jalen Milroe came in. Lane Kiffin plays checkers. Bill O'Brien doesn't even play. So Lane Kiffin plays
Plays
chess.
chess. Yes, sir.
Bill
I know
O'Brien doesn't even play checkers. I think he's got a worn out bingo card,
this
and he's
man
just
playing
he's just waiting
tic-tac-toe
for
and
something to
losing.
actually hit. He just waits for something to hit. Whereas Steve Sarkisian, Lane Kiffin were able to change things on the fly. Okay, and if they had somebody with inexperience like Jalen at that time, they simplified the offense to what they could do. They didn't try to go beyond that. And as Jalen Hurts and some of the other folks they've had under their tutelage began to grow, mature, and get comfortable, more concepts were put in. And then they were able to master it and do those things and change the offense. Bill O'Brien, I don't know what in the world he's doing. I really have no clue whatsoever, because Jalen Milroe was in horrible positions all night. I can't even think of the adjective that can rightly describe just what I saw tonight. At no point did it look like that Bill O'Brien had any kind of clue as to the position in which he gets paid millions of dollars to do. I kind of felt like that we got Bill O'Brien from some job search on Craigslist.
Indeed.
Not even Indeed, Craigslist.
Like Facebook Marketplace. Like,
Yeah. Facebook yard sale.
it's sad because you would think an NFL coach who had Deshaun Watson for the bulk of, you know, the significant part of his career, and you would think that even though he wasn't the one calling the offensive plays, he was the one managing it, what was being called at Houston. So like, you would think that some of that would transfer over to the college level and be able to develop and progress a quarterback, or just allow that quarterback to be comfortable. You would think that would be his advantage over a college coordinator, a college defensive coordinator. But he has yet to create. I have yet to see Bill O'Brien create a mismatch by formation. I have yet to see Cam Latu line up out wide against or and make a linebacker, or linebacker pull out to guard Jahmyr Gibbs or one of the runbacks out wide and open up the middle of the field. Sarkisian and Kiffin, even Brian Daboll had enough sense to try it. I think that Daboll just wasn't confident enough in his play calling to where, you know, Daboll would just rely on, you know, if this worked one time, Daboll's going to overuse it. But I believe he still had enough creativity to stick to what was set before him that was working. I feel like O'Brien has completely eluded what was happening in 2016, 2017, 2018. You get what I'm saying? Like, you
No,
don't
I get what you're saying. Now, to your point about Deshaun Watson wasn't successful because of Bill O'Brien. Deshaun Watson was successful because of Deshaun Watson,
facts.
and in spite of Bill O'Brien. Okay, just like I compare Bill O'Brien to Les Miles.
Wow.
Yes,
That
as
hurts.
as good as LSU was all those years while Les Miles was there, they didn't win championships or were in contention year after year because of anything Les Miles did. They just had so much talent that they
So
were able to win in spite of him. And that's kind of been the case of wherever Bill O'Brien has gone. Now, everybody likes to hang their hat on that one season he had at Penn State when they were just in a horrendous situation coming off probation, the scandal, and all the other things that were going on at that time, and were still able to produce a winner on the field. And he did some things with Trace McSorley. But aside of that, where's
nothing.
the innovativeness? Where is all this, mind blowing just play calling that's supposed to make us forget about Lane Kiffin and Steve Sarkisian? Where is it? And the thing is, I've talked to Wesley Brett, who played for him when he was at the Patriots, and he's scratching his head. He said, "I don't understand this. This isn't the Bill O'Brien that I had when I was there. It doesn't work. We're seeing round peg square hole. It
Yes.
you it, make it make sense." And it blows my mind when things actually do work. Like tonight, we have the crossing routes, we have the underneath stuff, we have the slants, the hot routes. They
Yes, yes.
work. They worked. You know, Jermaine Burton slant to the house. Uh, um, I just forgot his name. Ja'Cory Brooks
Corey Brooks, yes.
to the house. but we stopped doing that, and he just like he wanted to call a play, uh, like on Tecmo Bowl, all verticals, just go. It doesn't work that way.
And you know it's crazy, Justin. It's like, and you said it, you hit it on the head. Like my first two drives, and I'm not going to sit here and act like I know everything. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know everything about offense and everything, but I feel like I've done enough film study and taken enough I've taken enough trips, I've taken enough clinics, I've been to enough clinics. I've said it. I went to a Alabama camp my junior year of high school. Mind you, this is 2007, 2008. Nick Saban is only in his second year as the coach. I went to Alabama 707. This is before 707 became popular. Mind you, because Alabama wasn't running a passing offense in 2007, 2008.
Right.
So we go to this passing camp, and even then, I could sit there and see how Saban was teaching those grad assistants, those coaches. And my question is the same thing being applied now? Or is he relying on the fact that he has an older coach that track record says, okay, he's decent because of what his offense has produced, but did he really have a hand in those offenses? We have to go back and evaluate that. And I don't think Bill O'Brien, if he did, he's not bringing it here to Alabama. Why not? And so, and not to be the dead horse, but I Jalen Milroe, you got to protect the ball. Yes, you have to protect the ball. That's quarterback priority number one.
Right.
But those situations, we're not a experienced offensive coordinator who knows his personnel is not putting Jalen Milroe in 15 to 20 drop back situations, knowing that that's not a drop back quarterback. If Jalen Milroe is my quarterback, he's faking a handoff on every snap. The jet sweep motion, I'm giving 2 or 3 of those throughout the game. I may not do it 6, 7 times like Lane Kiffin used to do it with Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs and Devontae Smith and Jalen Watt. I'm not doing it that many times because I don't have that type of talent right there. I haven't seen that talent unlocked, but I'm making the defense respect it. And I appreciated the fact that he leaned on the run early. I appreciated that we leaned on the run early. But when those safeties walked inside of 10, 12 yards and they were literally crashing off of the snap, what else do you need to see, Bill O'Brien? You're in the booth. How do you not see that to call, hey, even though we lost 2 yards on this rush play because the safeties are crashing, why are we not rushing back to the line and line up in the same formation, faking the handoff and hitting the freaking slant right where the safeties and linebackers are leaving? And I think Mike McCoy said it on the show, on the post game show. And Chris Charlie said it. The DBs, that the Texas A&M defense wasn't a slouch, but there were opportunities we could have took advantage of mismatches or just their grace of play calling and literally just laid the ball over the top just to get Jalen comfortable. We never gave him a chance to get comfortable in that game. Bill O'Brien never gave him a chance to get comfortable in that game, and it showed all 4 quarters.
I agree. Travelpreneur Sports Podcast says Kiffin and Sark were also on the sidelines as well as coaching the offense and not making audibles. Yeah, I agree that first of all, O'Brien needs to come down from that booth. He needs to be on the sideline and he needs to receive the butt chewings that so many beforehand graciously received. Okay. Enough of this, whatever it is you're doing in your little fort and on top of the stadiums. That's priority number one. James Knox says, "True that, Justin. I thought he was a spread option guy. Why don't Bama quarterbacks carry out any motions or fakes after they hand the ball off?"
Me and James were literally saying the same thing throughout the whole game during the chat, and it's funny because you would think. I mean, I'm just a common high school coach. I've never coached at college. But you would think that if I see that a defense can't stop a look, not necessarily play calling, but a look. Anytime we had to double the 2 running backs in the back, the dual running back set, no matter if we had the tight end split, tight end online, if we had the slide out there, it was effective because those linebackers could not seal the edges. They could not keep our running backs from getting to the edges. Why did we not keep going to that? And I can't give Jalen Milroe passes for those fumbles, but
I agree.
my guy, like, why are you not giving him the draw play? Let that boy run. That boy, I don't care. We could have ended the game with 20 passing yards. I don't care. We didn't put Jalen Milroe in position to be effective throughout the whole game. And the plays that he did make, they weren't necessarily play calling. They were just an athlete making plays. And it shouldn't be that way. O-line played great. O-line
O-line's phenomenal.
played
Shout
phenomenal.
out again to Seth
Seth,
McLaughlin
your guy.
and,
Your guy.
and Tyler Booker again. Something
Filling in.
I've been saying it since the offseason. This is who you need to stabilize this offensive line and to have that grit and punch you in the mouth type of persona that we have had missing for quite some time. Darren Dalcourt was not that guy. It wasn't happening. There was nothing but chaos across that offensive line when he was in there. Matter of fact, I think that chaos created by the lineup when he was in filtered over to Tyler Steen, causing him to be uncomfortable.
Correct. Because Steen played awesome tonight. Steen played awesome tonight. I think there was maybe 2 plays where he got the double rush on his edge, and he literally made the right decision every time. Both times he made the right decision. You flood. I don't play offensive line, but I know as an offensive lineman, you want the quarterback to be able to step up, not flow out, but step up. And he forced all the rushes that came on his side, the blitzes that came to his side. He forced them, both of them, to the outside and gave Jalen Milroe a chance to step up. Now, as far as Jalen Milroe, I think he patting too much. I think he's not trusting the O-line to keep his eyes downfield, and that comes with time. Bryce
Right.
Young made those same mistakes last year. People forget Bryce Young benefited from having great athletes around him, just like, most of the quarterbacks that come through Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
You know, his poise was on a different level, but he made some of the same mistakes. His ball security was always there. Jalen Milroe, he's an athlete. He's a run first quarterback. So the ball security is not going to necessarily be there because he didn't get tested with the speed last week. He broke out and did everything he wanted to last week whenever he calmed down. This week, these guys were on it. And I think they made a focus as one of somebody on that coaching staff, that A&M coaching staff said, look at how loose he is with the ball when he's stepping up or when he's breaking out to run. And as you can see, every time those guys tackle him, they didn't try to tackle him up high. They were wrapping up at the waist level, going for the arms, swiping through, trying to get the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just coaching. You get what I'm saying? So,
Oh, yeah.
where's our coaching on the offensive side? Because our defense played lights out. Even with the small mistakes, our defense plays lights out. Hugging Henry, he was car director, and that's his name. I'm not changing it. Don't nobody steal it. Trademark it. Coach Smoot said it first. Hugging Henry, he was being the best. Y'all saw him orchestrating the defense and
He
putting
was.
it in the right spot. He was doing his job, and he was even coming in and helping with tackles. He did his thing. I do hate when he blitzes though. He throws his shoulder in there too much. He's not relentless on his blitzes. He's not committed, and that can bite us against an athletic team like Tennessee, a high rate team like Tennessee. And but overall, man, I'm tired of giving Bill O'Brien this energy. Overall, this team is showing resiliency week in and week out. And at what point do we say, okay, it's time to implement scheme and strategy to help out the talent? At what point do we say Bill O'Brien is not giving us the advantage schematically? And I saw a comment, and I can't remember what game it was, but Wiggins, our wide receiver coach,
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago, he was coaching those receivers into plays. He was coaching those receivers into plays. Why can't we get back to that? Why can't we get back to that? I believe Coach Saban has given too much control of the offense to his offense coordinator. I feel like he needs to button down and dumb it down for these young guys. Let these guys. I feel like it's kind of late to dumb it down, though. That's the sad part about it. I think it's kind of late to dumb it down.
Is it too late? I mean, if the process right now as it is not working and is creating more chaos than good, why is it too late to kind of press pause and then kind of take a few steps back and simplify things a little bit until it starts clicking to the level that we are comfortable with, the players are comfortable with. Why not press a reset right now? I mean, we're just 6 games in, you know.
And
Uh,
I
and I'm gonna be honest with you, we don't have Jameson Williams, we don't have John Mechie, we don't have those guys that are going to out athlete and outplay everyone like those gentlemen did. And I think that Bill O'Brien is letting Jameer Gibbs be that guy to where he absorbs absolutely everything and carries the load for the entire offense on his back, along with Bryce, of course. But you keep on doing that to Jameer Gibbs, he eventually he's going to break down. You saw a little bit of it tonight.
yes,
He was going hard, and I mean, praise God, we have Jameer Gibbs. He carried that offense virtually by himself. But it got to the point to where the stud horse was getting broke down, and he had to come out for a little bit. And I guarantee you that shoulder wasn't fully healed once he came back in. He's just a competitor.
yeah,
But at some point, if you continue to run that horse into the ground, he's going to give out on you. Not because he don't want to play, and not because he can't do it.
it's just he
It's because
physically
you're going to break him down.
correct.
You are getting paid to make the calls, to better the receivers, the backs, everybody on that side of the ball. Do it.
My thing is, Justin, you got Trayshawn Holden, Ja'Cory Brooks. I think both of those guys are 6'1", 6'2". Brooks is like 195, 200 pounds. Holden's 205. You got Jermaine Burton, who hasn't been consistent. He
Mm-mm.
has to be consistent, but when you put him in positions where he's comfortable, he makes his plays. You have a stable of running backs. Roydell Williams, who came in and ran solid. I mean, solid,
He did. He provided valuable carries tonight.
valuable. Jace McClellan, even though he had the fumble, I mean, he was fighting for extra yards, and that tackle, that fumble was a lucky fumble. You saw the guy came in with his head down. He just so happened to get his helmet on the football. Like he didn't plan that. And like I'm just saying, like we literally allowed this game to be closer by play calling. By play call. If I'm up 14, I think we was up 14-7 going into the third quarter or right before half. Was up 14-10 or 14-7. I can't remember. I'm not putting Jalen Milroe in the drop back situation when we
No.
can go up 21-7. I'm not doing that. I'm letting Jalen Milroe read option, RPO. Like that what worked the first 2-3 drives, man. Like it bothers me, but at the same time, I see where I can understand and it seemed like I'm playing both sides of the fence because I'm talking from not just a fan aspect, but from a analyst aspect. Bill O'Brien is saying, okay, Jalen Milroe is my second string guy. He's the guy I have to rely on. He has to learn how to throw this ball. Why not use it this week? My thing is, no, this is conference play. You should have been doing that last 3 weeks ago when we was playing against UL Monroe, when we was playing against
U-
uh uh
U-
Utah
Utah
State.
State,
You get what I'm saying?
Vanderbilt.
Like,
Yeah.
don't put Jalen in garbage time and let him run the read option and have him running all those. Make him pass the ball. Make him make reads against the lesser talent. So when he gets forced into these situations, it's somewhat familiar because I'm pretty sure all this week when he was getting those reps with first team in those pass concepts, they weren't going full speed. They were making sure they break it down for him so he could slow it down a little bit. But it's not going to be slowed down in game speed. Texas A&M is not playing to let you make the reads, and you can't grow a quarterback like that. So at the end of the day, man, we have a team that literally is being capped by coaching decisions. And the moment we wake up and realize that as a staff on Bama, I think that's when we'll start to dominate defense. Pete Golden, I think Pete Golden has started to say, okay, I got all these athletes, let me let them loose. He made Arnold and Kool-Aid play corner tonight. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that because both of them played corner tonight. They minus the small, you're gonna have mistakes.
Yeah, you're gonna
But
have that.
the way they rebounded Arnold, that boy he's DB1. He's DB1. Kool-Aid, even with his discipline with punt return tonight, was impressive. He didn't take a whole bunch back. There was no need to when your defense is really carrying the team. Secure the ball, get an offensive chance to continue to grow. And that's what he did. Like, overall, we can see glimpses of what we're used to seeing as Bama football. But this Bill O'Brien cat got to go.
From a secondary standpoint, I think we're getting better each week. And I saw some comments on social media during the game, and even in the post game show that I did on TDA, people trashing Terrion Arnold, saying that he has to go. And I seriously question your knowledge of football if you're saying that arguably our best corner needs to be on the bench. Terrion Arnold has been the most consistent player in the secondary this season. He's getting better every game. I will go so far as to say he's a lockdown corner. Did he have some moments tonight? Sure. But you know what? Even Antonio Langham, even Minka Fitzpatrick, even name your
Javier Arenas,
Javier Arenas.
one of our most aggressive corners to ever come through Bama. I don't think people
They
realize
had their moment. They had those. I mean, it's just going to happen. It doesn't mean cast him into the sun. He's fine. Kool-Aid was having those moments where he had to make adjustments. But you know what? It's starting to click now. And we said this before. A lot of that is a correlation to back to the success he's having in the return game.
correct.
No, he didn't have a success return game tonight, mainly because of either they were kicking away from him or they were kicking it high. Didn't really set him up for any kind of success, but that's okay. It's just going to happen when you start to become that dude back there.
Mm-hmm.
But Kool-Aid is still contributing in so many other ways. He's very valuable. He's becoming a lockdown corner in that secondary. So I got no problems. They did their thing tonight. Yeah, there were some points tonight where A&M receivers, Evan, I forget his last name. He's a young kid. He phenomenal athlete. Evan Stewart had some phenomenal plays. Went up high and made some spectacular catches. Moose Muhammad went up high, climbed the ladder, made some spectacular catches. They did some things tonight, but overall, the A&M offense really wasn't that effective until we basically handed them the keys to our house and said, "Come on in." And that was when we were turning the ball over. But I guarantee you, if those those 4 turnovers, well, actually, the 2 fumbles by Milroe don't happen, I honestly don't believe that A&M gets in the end zone. They may not even cross the 50, to be honest with you.
You take away 14 points off of those 2 turnovers, those 2 fumbles, right? But you got to think they scored off of every turnover that they had. Every turnover, I think, except they only had a field goal on one of them, but they scored off of every turn. That was the only offense that they could get was off of our turnovers. So, in hindsight, you can clean up that. You can make Jalen Milroe walk around all week like we did in high school. If you fumbled during the game on Friday night, guess what? You showed up Saturday the film session with the football in your hand, and if somebody took the football from you, ran sprints. Monday when we came to practice, you had a football. You carried the football around all day in school. That's why I think we got to get back to that. Just allowing guys to understand the passion you need to and dedication you need. Jalen Milroe will be carrying around a football. If he was playing for me, every time I seen Jalen Milroe, if he didn't have a football in his hand, I don't care where Jalen was. If I saw Jalen Milroe at Sonics off of what street that is coming out of Tuscaloosa, that Sonic that all the players go to. If I see him at Sonic and he ain't got that football in his hand, you got
Mm-hmm.
sprints. You got sprints.
Right where you
'Cause
are.
you get what I'm saying? Like sprints, like or we did push-ups in high school, like 30 push-ups. You know, whatever amount of sprints we ran on Thursday before the game, which is like our loosen up sprints, we usually do 10, 15, 75% win sprints. You're gonna do twice as many as that on Monday. Every time we catch you without a football, you're gonna do these push-ups. That type of stuff will make players, just respect the coaching, and the small things that lead you to become a great player. Bryce Young doesn't have a lot of fumbles because he's all about ball security, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty sure he said that to Milroe going in the second half. Man, you got to protect the ball, you know. And people calling for Ty Simpson to come in the game, that would have hurt Ty's confidence
Trust
tonight.
me, y'all didn't want to see that.
That would have hurt
You
Ty's
think you
confidence.
want something, it doesn't always mean it's good for you.
And that I mean, stuff like think about it. Ty goes into this game, right? And it wasn't like A&M's defense wasn't playing good. A&M played good defense on our passing. Cause
They've got
it's
some
the
dudes
concept.
back there, man. They're not this homecoming opponent pushover that everybody thinks that they are defensively. They've got some guys. Yeah, their defense against the run is actually ranked 97th in the nation, which we were able to run against them tonight. I mean, I hadn't seen the
Why did we
stat
leave
yet.
it? Why did we
I
leave
hadn't seen this. Hadn't seen the stat yet. I'm gonna go back and look at that. But that defense was good. But also too, we were very one dimensional. So it's not hard for any defense to look good if we're running the same concepts and schemes and ideas one after the other. I mean, it's like you pulled out the playbook of Tecmo Bowl from back in the day,
Man, when
and
you said that, I cried
yeah,
laughing. Oh, I mean, I was crying laughing because I remember the three fade routes on Techno Bowl. Like I remember that play, that passing play. I remember it was hard to stop if you didn't run the prevent defense, because I mean it's just you wonder where in the world do we get this idea of play calling on the offensive side. But like I said, this worked out perfect because you get plenty of teaching moments for Jalen Milroe. You get confidence built for your offensive line and your running back room. Your wide receivers see that they need to work harder as far as getting open and presenting themselves to be open for passes. And then you get to rest Bryce Young on a win to make sure he's ready to go against a more explosive opponent. I'm not going to say Tennessee is
very
better than A&M.
aggressive
They are
offensive
aggressive
opponent.
and explosive on offense, and that's where we're going to see. We're going to need to match that point. But I think our defense is on a different level, bro. I honestly feel like it's clicking right now, and I feel like next week when we get to have Malachi and Branch on the field at the same time playing against those sets, we're going to have to go to more 5-6 DB sets next week. I feel like those guys are going to be able to thrive coming down to guard those slot guys, guard that split tight end, guard instead of bringing Tua out or Moody or Lawson out to split and guard a running back on those crazy formations, leave your DBs out there, let linebackers play there, you know, and our
Mm.
D line, Otis, Burrows, Young, Smith got in a few plays tonight. Man, that D line looks nasty. DJ
There
Dale,
wasn't a problem. There's not a problem. Like I said, I've been saying all season, there is no problem with our front seven at all. They are the highlight, and they're a huge reason as to why we're able to do so much more defensively. We are forming that great wall of hell no. I say
yes
it
sir.
every week. We're getting there, and you can attribute that largely to Jaheim Otis and Byron Young too.
Burrows showed
Burrows
he
is that
got
guy.
gas
Tim Smith
tonight,
is that
but
guy.
his
Um,
his presence is definitely there.
Justin Oboibe, Lord, please bring him back soon.
Like,
I mean, I'm
please.
not. He just kind of is that extra cog in the machine that completes the machine as a whole unit. That we did great with Burrows. We did great with Smith. But I like having a boy be there too, just to be that final little icing on the cake, if you will, on that defensive front.
And you're correct, man. Like I would love for a boy to be the back. I didn't even know Moody got hurt Thursday in practice. Like that
I
was
didn't
crazy.
either.
And we
I
missed him.
love I love Jalen Moody. I love what he's doing. I love his tenacity. Why he should be on the field. Deontay Lawson in his absence was phenomenal. Did
Um,
great things. Reminds us of another number 32. When it's all said and done, Deontay is going to be one of those guys we talk about, year after year, and compare every guy after him too. So,
what's the guy that's uh behind him? This freshman, I can't think of his name on top of my head. Inside linebacker, he's oh man, Jeremiah is his name Jeremiah?
Jeremiah Alexander,
Is he inside linebacker?
he's the no he, Jeremiah Alexander is the edge rusher
Okay,
from Thompson. Uh,
so you got
you got
Lawson,
you got Jihad Campbell.
Campbell. That guy, I was watching his high school highlights. Why are we not having this guy fill holes, man? He's you remember when my guy was talking about having that guy that just doesn't care, is just gonna crash holes because he knows he gotta blow through.
Yeah,
That's that guy, man. Like what he needs 3 or 4 snaps a game. Like
uh,
Toa is not physical. Yes, I appreciate him being smart. I appreciate him being the smartest guy on the field. But I want him to be able to tackle somebody in the backfield. You said it last week so many times. I want Toa to be able to tackle somebody. If Will and those guys are fighting off blocks and missing tackles because they're literally split second off of a sack, I need Toa following up. Lawson did it tonight. He follows up great and he cleans up well. Toa, I appreciate your intelligence, but guy, stop hugging. This is not
yeah.
a hug.
Quit taking them down with grace, as a brilliant man once told me. I believe
Right.
it was Mike McCoy that said that anytime Toa makes a tackle, he's taking him down with grace. I compare it to a mother laying down her baby in a cradle, because
Correct.
he sure enough ain't gonna bring that ooh wee hit.
Like
I'm
Ricky Bobby
not
say,
holding
little old
back.
baby Jesus
Yeah.
is wrapped in swaddling clothing, 4 pounds, 8 ounces of baby Jesus. All cold. Like he act like he handling a bread bundle or something. I don't know, man. It's scary, but overall, Justin, and I don't want to keep dragging on the negatives. I think this team is set up for something great if we can continue to grow from moments like this. I
I agree.
believe this team needs a tight season all year. I don't think we need blowouts with this team because NIL and ego is so present in college football
Oh, it's
today.
rampant. Yeah, it's hurting the game tremendously. It's hurting the focus of a lot of these guys. They're
Yes,
focused
and
on
it
the
showed
wrong
early in the
thing.
season. It showed early against Utah State. Talent just pulled us away from that. It showed against Texas. We literally had to buckle down, and that was a hostile environment. But 2015, 2016, Bama doesn't struggle with that Texas. A game like that.
No, not at all. And a lot of the nonsense you see going on is going to be self-policed out by teammates.
Right.
A lot of stuff that you see right now doesn't happen under the watch, especially on the defensive side of the ball with Reuben Foster and Reggie Ragland, and you name anybody on that defense,
Dante
man.
Hightower, like all those guys, Quentin Williams, uh, uh, Damian Square. Like people don't forget, them boys used to get into fights in spring training. Them boys
Oh
used to
yeah, daily,
fight,
daily.
not offense against defense. We talking about defensive linemen scrapping against each other because you didn't do your assignment. Like I remember those days. I remember those reports. I remember reading those in newspapers, not on social media, but I remember reading those reports on newspapers about Alabama defensive players going at it. You know what I'm saying? Like I I I I hate that. I'm glad that these players are getting recognized and getting paid for their name, image, and likeness. But let's get back to what it's about. This football, this what happens on the field. It's not about the money you collecting afterwards. You have to perform on the field
Hmm.
because it's going to get to the point where they're going to start pulling these deals. Like if tour. If you not pulling what you supposed to be pulling, I'm pulling that deal. And kids is going to hurt their confidence because they got all this invested into them before they even play a snap, and then when they get out there and see that the competition don't care about what uh magazine or what car dealership thinks you're worth, and they bust your head or they run you over,
Oh yeah.
oh, you out of here now. Your confidence is boosted. Now you got to transfer to Arizona. You know what I'm saying? You got to go to Pac-12 country and try to be elite. You know, we're not gonna talk about ACC Jeremiah Johnson from Georgia. You know what I'm saying? Like those type of players.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not saying Jerome Ford was trash at Bama. He just got mixed up in a deep Bama room, but he had
He
to go to
did, and he excelled in the right place. He's one of those
exactly.
guys that took the route he needed to go to unlock the player he was capable of being, and that happened to be Cincinnati. So
Exactly.
kudos to him.
He
I'm
could have
I'm
go.
proud of the
I don't
guy.
think he goes to Auburn and does that, has that same effect though. You get what I'm saying? I don't think he stays in the SEC and has that same effect. And that's where Alabama is different. Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, these schools are different because you can go to these schools and be a top guy, right? You can come in and be a top guy, and reality is set in quick. And the competitor in you say, all right, I'm gonna stick it out. But reality is, just as you are getting better, they got to literally beat you out to get that spot is going to get better too. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're
So,
right.
and these guys are understanding that, and I feel like that's playing too much into that thought process instead of giving 110% every day in practice to show I deserve to be here. You know what I'm saying? Okay, let me go ahead and milk it and get this practice film together so I could be good for the transfer portal. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
it's one of those things where it's just so many factors are playing into how college football is played now and how things are done. We just have to embrace those moments where we get those players that are dedicated to the game, and you see it for the majority part of this team, and for the most part of this team, and we don't have those egos that's surfacing anymore. Like I feel like Texas really helped shutting down those egos. That Texas
Mm.
game shut
Yeah,
down those egos.
you need those humble moments for sure. Uh, it was brought up. Where is the intensity? Hearts 237. The leader Pete Golding has to bring that drive, killer instinct to the defense. To be honest with you, Hearts 237. I get what you're saying. I feel like there is intensity on the defensive side of the ball. I don't think all season, with maybe the exception of the Texas game when Ewers was picking us apart, that there's ever been an issue regarding intensity. If anything, I believe fully in this defense. And there are huge reasons, especially tonight, why we're undefeated right now. And a lot of people have had this game tonight marked on their calendars, that revenge game, that game where, what they talked about our coach. We're going to show them a little something. You know what? We took that L last year. We had no business taking. We're going to show us something. Defense showed me that they were about revenge tonight. They did.
Yeah,
They were on the field. What would you say, Coach Moog? 89% of the game, and they came with it
yeah,
every single series. They didn't let up. Yeah, they had those oh moments where things just break down. They do. And then I can't, again, like we said earlier, I can't really hold against them, the two scores, because they were put in bad situations, short field, and sometimes people are just going to get free. It happens. But yeah, I believe that they were committed to the mission of revenge. I don't feel like that is the case on the offensive side of the ball, and I think that a lot of that falls on Bill O'Brien. Uh, I just didn't see that tonight, and I felt a lot of our problem tonight, if it wasn't the play call from Bill O'Brien, was things that we were shooting ourselves in the foot, and that's really how Texas A&M these past couple of years have won games. They've capitalized off of opponents shooting themselves in the foot, or just some weird, crazy stuff that never usually happening. You can't sit here and tell me 2 games ago that they're better than Arkansas, a healthy Arkansas with KJ Jefferson. They weren't. This weird crap happened. And how often do you say that Will Reichard's going to miss a field goal, let alone 2 field goals in the
two
same
field
game?
goals.
It doesn't happen. It was like Murphy's Law tonight. Whatever can go wrong will go wrong.
Yep.
And somehow, praise God, we were able to overcome all that stuff. So a lot of the stuff self-inflicted, but you go in there against Tennessee next week doing the same things, or you go against even, heck, throw it 3 weeks from now, a Mississippi State who's on fire right now. You go in doing that, and you go into Baton Rouge at night, which I'm guarantee is probably going to be a night game. I realize LSU didn't look like worth a damn at all today, but it's going to be a different LSU team when we go down there, and it's going to be at night. You do all that stuff there. Weird stuff happens there. Voodoo comes out.
Mm-hmm.
You do that stuff, man. You're gonna get bit. You're gonna get bit in the butt. I'm telling you. But as long as stuff like this doesn't become the pattern, we'll be fine. But I really need us to start learning from things. We've had plenty of these teachable moments, and if you want Jalen Milroe to become the quarterback that he is capable of becoming, his coach needs to help him out. He's not going to have the confidence that he needs if his coach is putting him in these impossible situations. That's why he wasn't able to really get his footing tonight, because he didn't believe what the coach was doing for him at all. And there's only so much you can do. There's only so much you can overcome.
Right. Justin, you right on point with it. And I think even just getting this win, I think Milroe has this confidence builder that, okay, we got the job done. He said, he's probably not saying I got the job done. He said, we got the job done. And this settles him down to be even more open to constructive criticism and avenues of approach as far as his growth and development. You know, I had a quarterback my first year coaching at the high school level. This kid just felt like if we called the flags, the double flags, sitting in corners, if he had one high safety, he felt like he didn't have to make a read. He just threw it to his strong side, which was his right side. No matter where the safety faded to, whatever, he just threw it to the strong side. And I had to break it down to him like, hey, kid, I understand you throw the better ball to the right. So if you want to throw that ball to the right, we're going to give you the double flags. We're going to give you double flags. If we give you the one high read, I need you to look. If you don't do nothing else, your 2-3 steps into that 5-step drop, on your 3rd step, your eyes need to be all the way directed left to manipulate that safety. If you want to look good, if you want to look good, if you want to get those looks, if you want to throw to the right, I need your eyes all the way left, knowing that you already got your favorite route to the right. Trust me on everything. If you don't listen to anything else I do, I don't care about your mechanics after that. Just get your eyes left. When I say this kid had 6 passing touchdowns off of that flag route to the same guy, I don't care what what defending coach coached against us. If they put us in one hot, they knew that the double flag was coming. Their safety would not trust their coaching. And hey, he's going to look left and throw right. I had my quarterback until somebody stopped it. I had him do that. And 6 touchdowns. This kid is playing D3 ball right now, you know, and probably not playing. He's probably not getting playing time right now, but the kid is coachable. And when you play into a player's his strengths, that builds their confidence. Jalen Milroe got away with, okay, I can hit those quick passes. I can use my legs. I'm still not confident with my downfield passes. You want to know why he's still not confident? Because Bill didn't put him in favorable positions. And I think we grow from this. I think Jalen grows from this because he's a mature guy. And he has the right guy in front of him to help him grow from this. You know, and I think Bryce being able to rest and be healthy for next week is going to help Jalen grow throughout the season. Because guess what? If Bryce goes down next week, I think Jalen comes in with a little bit more confidence saying, okay, coach, you know what I like to run. We've got 2 weeks of me running the offense. You know I like to run. There's no stutter now. Offensive line knows how I like to run. Wide receivers know how I like to run now. Running backs everybody has a full game with me. So there's no question. There should be no questions of what we should be running if Jalen Milroe has to go back into the game. And that's where I think the positive, out of all the negatives that we've stated tonight, Justin, I think the positive comes from, all right, we know what we can do with Jalen Milroe in the game now.
Mhm.
Everybody else is going to have to adjust to what we can do with Jalen Milroe, not us. We know what we got. And I think the Arkansas game showed us, okay, adjusting to a quarterback on the fly is hard. So let's go ahead and prepare and have the full spectrum of. I think that's what made Jalen Hurts and Tua that controversy so great because you didn't know what to prepare for. You knew that Jalen could come in and do what he did the year before and still be successful, even though it wasn't as explosive. You know he could come in and be a asset and be successful. So we're in a time where as a fan, you might not like it, but as an analyst, as a football player, and as a coach who has a little bit of knowledge, you're like, okay, we can grow from this. Only if that coordinator can get right. Pete Golden, everybody that's on Pete Golden's back, Pete Golden has simplified the defense and allowed these boys to play football. That's why our defense looks great. Simple as
Absolutely.
that. That's all it
Absolutely.
is. Last year, that's what we wanted from him. It took him a while to do it, and we saw what happened once they did it towards the end of the season. And he's carried that over into the season. He started this season trying that extravagant stuff, but you don't need all that dress up and pretty stuff all the time. Sometimes you gotta let these guys go out and beat their man in front of them. Will Anderson can't be stopped. Robinson, Dallas Turner can't be stopped. Uh, what's my boy name? Can't even think of his name right now. The cheetah package, man. That
Oh, Chris Braswell.
Chris Braswell. Yeah, I could not think of his name, but that cheetah package is you can't
It,
stop it.
man, I love that.
If you hold the ball more than 2 seconds, your guy is being pushed out the pocket. Like, you know how long it takes to do a drop back, right? 1.3 to 2 seconds. How's like you can't stop when guys are in your face on your third step, that messes it up. You know, you're relying on the jump ball play that Buddy caught on Arnold and Helms on the side. Like you're
Yeah.
relying on that. I'm not mad at that. That's not happening every play. I think Arnold, if that happens again, Arnold makes a play on that. If that happens again, Helms makes a play on that. Like,
Oh, no doubt.
and that happened with the cheetah package on the field. So we embrace these moments and just grow from them at the end of the day.
Denario Centerman says, just hopefully Aaron Anderson and Tyler Harrell will get to play this season. Dudes are explosive. I agree, but if you're not going to put them in the right positions
Exactly.
to do their
Oh,
thing,
get out of my brain, Justin.
it doesn't mean a thing at all. I mean, we had guys on the field tonight that've got speed. Kobe Prentice is out there. Isaiah Bond's out there. If you would have brought in the short to intermediate routes, the crossing routes, things of that nature, you have those guys that can break ankles and take those things yard. You saw Ja'Cory Brooks do it. You saw Jermaine Burton do it. And they don't have the speed of Isaiah Bond or Kobe Prentice. So imagine if you actually utilize those guys and
Christian
make
Leary.
those calls, or Christian Leary to those guys, man, light up the
Even
stat book. Light
Emmanuel
up the stat
Henderson,
book.
our running back that's playing receiver this year, Emmanuel Henderson, I don't think we have yet to see him get an opportunity to just burn somebody. Like you got your possession receivers that are out there. You got them running these burning routes. And by the time that they're getting open in the second half, they're tired from running these burnout routes. Why not use these guys that aren't primary starters? Give them those 2 snaps to run. Go beat that guy. If that's what you're going to do, Bill, go beat that guy. Put your speed out there. Don't put a 4-4, 4-5 guy out there and try to get him to take the top off of defense. You got 4-4 sub 4-4 guys, high 4-3 guys out on the sideline, just itching. Fresh legs, ain't pulled a hamstring, ain't stretched a muscle, ain't strained a muscle all season because you're stuck in this elementary style offensive play calling. So I mean,
Right.
I agree totally with that concept. Whoever just made that comment, but like Justin said, if you don't put these guys in the right position, it doesn't make a difference.
Steven Sorrell, hey everyone, don't kill me for this, but how much of this falls on Saban overall the last couple of years? The team as a whole has been uncharacteristic. Don't kill me, just a thought. First of all, Steven, we are a politically incorrect forum. You don't have to worry about us condemning you because we question the Almighty. You know,
I
even
said
on our main show, the Bama Standard on Tuesday nights, It's not for the faint of heart. If you're coming there to hear things being sugar coated, you're in the wrong place. You're gonna get your feelings hurt. We will call out anybody and everyone, even if it's Pete Golding, Bill O'Brien, and don't excommunicate me, Nick Saban. As fans, we can do that. As analysts, we can do that. As the people who pay their salaries, that's ding
We
ding
have
ding.
that right.
We can do that.
You see the
So,
shirt I got on? Nick Saban got a cut off of this. You know what I'm saying? Like this flag right here, Nick Saban got a cut off of this. And guess what? Nick Saban, you need to tighten the reins again. I agree totally with you, Steven. I feel like Bill O'Brien is given too much leash. He did it to Lane Kiffin. He did it to Sarkisian. Why you ain't did it to Bill O'Brien yet?
and I get it. At this point in his career, he wants to be the CEO and just kind of delegate out to his coaches. But at some point, you guys say, you know what? I got to take control over everything again.
Has CEO
And
Nick
then,
won a national title? Has CEO Saban won a national title? 2020, that wasn't CEO Saban. He literally had his hands in that because of the COVID situation. You get what I'm saying? So like CEO Saban is not what Bama football has. That is not what produced Bama football. Now, if Saban, I believe Saban is smart enough to know that he's coming on the downhill end of his career. I
right.
think, and he's probably doing Alabama as a institution justice by trying to seek out newer talent to bring in to hone in and just keep some longevity around here, which is why scary thought and scary prediction. I honestly believe push comes to shove, Pete Golden might be the next head coach of
I
Alabama.
rebuke that in the name of
I
Jesus.
rebuke it too, but you think about some of the decisions that's been made. How do we let Sarkisian or uh uh Kiffin get away as offensive coordinators? How do we do that when they literally changed Alabama offense? How do we let that happen?
That's a good question. I actually thought that they were grooming Steve Sarkisian to be
To
the
be,
the
yes.
next guy. So something must have broken down, during that time where I think he even thought he was, and that may have fallen apart. So he goes to Texas, which I really don't understand why he go there, just
That's a
because
temporary spot,
well,
man.
he's never going to be given the complete control that he'd need. But I mean, he's a phenomenal coach. But there's a question for you, Coach Smook from Brody Lowe. Why won't they hand off that jet sweep? Are they just using it for a man or zone read? There's no threat to run it really at time. It seems.
So, and you brought up the same point I brought up. If we were going to run the jet sweep or motion, we gotta test it to give these guys an opportunity. And if you run it I think we ran it 4 or 5 times tonight. I'm not going. I won't. I think it was 4 or 5 times. Okay. Each time the safety did the same thing. He just crashed the line. He didn't even look at the wide receiver. When he seen the wide receiver come in motion and jet, when Amari Knee Black came in motion, that safety literally walked down to the linebacker level and crashed interior. He did not follow 84. You get what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where even if it fails, even if it doesn't break for 7 yards, even if it doesn't get 3-4 yards, you have to make them respect it, because there's a possibility that your athlete can literally make that one slip and get you those 12 to 30 yards. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and many times we saw where Jalen Waddle would get that jet sweep. Early on when Jalen Waddle would run that jet sweep, people weren't expecting it. That's why he would break for those 30, 40-yard runs. And then once they seen that he had that capability, guess what? Safety started walking up. They started getting hesitant about crashing. Those linebackers started getting hesitant about crashing. And guess what? That opens up those routes, those one-on-ones on the outsides where you got your post or your slant, and
Mm-hmm.
your corners are getting beat inside, and the quarterback is able to make a open window throw, not a clog window throw, because those linebackers are hesitating. They're tiptoeing towards the line of scrimmage, thinking that they got to guard the run. So it's all about scheme, but your question is on point, man. It's just one of those things where, as a NFL head coach or offensive coordinator, whatever Bill O'Brien did throughout his career, you would expect him to see those things. And when a common fan like myself or a high school coach or a analyst or somebody can see it, you would expect a guy being paid millions to be able to see that.
All right. Before we close up shop, we're going to hit up this last question here, and then we're going to go into our players of the game and also let the folks know how they can find us on social media. But Denario Cinnamon, do you think coordinators use the status of big schools of Alabama, for example, to get a head coaching job in the future? I think that's what Bill is trying to do. Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Because a lot of these places, if they see Alabama on that resume, they automatically assume they are Nick Saban 2.0, Nick Saban in training, and that what they absorbed from Coach Saban at Alabama while they were there is going to automatically filter over to their respective institution. But the reality is, if they're not that dude, it's not going to work.
Look at Mel Tucker at Michigan State right now, right? Right. Um, Billy Napier at Florida right now, right? They pulled off a close one today, you know, but that team is not well coached. Florida's not well coached. They're not a well-oiled machine. They have
Yeah.
talent too. They have talent across the board. They're not well coached. I mean, even Ole Miss. Ole Miss was struggling with Vandy today. You know, like and that's Kiffin, you know, and like you can't bank on that. You can't bank on that. So using Alabama, I think that's kind of getting played out in itself. You know, you see guys like Dabo Sweeney losing Brett Venables to Oklahoma. Well, that doesn't get guys are just making career moves for themselves at the end of the day. I don't think them coming to Bama these past couple years has anything to do with it. Now you talking about offensive coordinators. I think the offensive coordinators mostly have benefited coming to Alabama. But Bill O'Brien, he's shitting the bed right now. I'm telling you right now. Like everybody's looking at him like you have literally the last 3 years top 5 recruiting classes and you can't put up 30 points, 40 points against a Texas A&M team that lost to App State. You can't put up 40 points against a Texas defense who struggled heavily coming into the week to play you. Like, I just don't see it helping him in this situation. So, Henry, you on point. Look, Henry on point. Absolutely no creativity. That was going to be my last statement, and I was ready, bro. I promise you. I mean,
The
Bill
two
O'Brien.
things I think that Billy Napier, I think he eventually will be successful at Florida, but he's having to undo a lot of stuff that Dan Mullen left for him to clean up.
What
A
if he
lot,
comes
which, but one of which is having to press a reset on Anthony Richardson because Mullen did nothing to develop him whatsoever. I think that he eventually will get the job done when he gets his guys in there. He creates the culture that he wants there, but it's going to take at least 2 or 3 years before he starts to really turn that corner. Lane Kiffin has been doing it up to this point. You mentioned the game against Vandy today. I think a lot of Ole Miss's problems this year, if you look across the board, majority of their players on that offense are what? From the transfer portal.
Yes, no
They haven't
continuity.
played together until now. Now, however, you do expect at this point in the season, 6 game in, for them to start gelling and coming together. So I think up until this point, I think that's been the greatest hindrance to Ole Miss. But I do look for them to start making a gradual rise now that they've been together. But yeah, that's all I had to say about them. But moving
Correct.
into the closing part of our show, we like to always give our players of the game. Coach Smoog, I'm going to turn it over to you. If you would, give me your offensive and defensive players of the game.
Offensive player of the game, Seth McLaughlin.
Ooh.
Seth McLaughlin. Not offensive line, Seth McLaughlin. He is the heartbeat of our offense.
Mm-hmm.
Even with Bryce on the field, Seth McLaughlin sets the tone with intensity, execution, and his energy. Like from from the first snap to the last snap of the game. If that guy can go downfield and make a block, he's doing it. If that guy can pick up a teammate after they get tackled, he's doing it. It's those small things that I see and Seth that makes this offense better. So, offensive player Seth McLaughlin, co-offensive player Jahmyr Gibbs. That boy is showing up every week. Um, Defensive player, Justin, I'm gonna need help because I feel like our defense played lights out. Like
Mhm.
I I can't pick one. Like the front played lights out together. I mean, they played as a unit, and that's all we've been asking for.
Yeah.
With the mistakes, they made a mistake as a unit. You get what I'm saying? Like, um, even with the pass rush, like these guys were getting so much push. The rush defense. I don't know how many rushing yards we gave up tonight, but I didn't see many big rushing plays. I think the biggest rushing game they had was 12 yards. So, um, if you're gonna make me pick a defensive player, I'm gonna go with Dallas Turner. I'm gonna go with Braswell. Braswell
Mm.
showed
I
out
like
tonight.
that.
Braswell showed out tonight because he's literally the third guy, but he had the most pressures tonight. You know, he really came in and went crazy.
Hmm. To answer your question, we only gave up 70 yards rushing tonight.
That's awesome. On how many was that like? Was that like 15 or 16 attempts or something like that? Wasn't it?
Rushing, they had 25 attempts,
That's less than 3 yards. You get what I'm saying? That's less than 3 yards.
2.8 yards per carry we allowed.
That
Yeah.
sounds like
Yeah.
Georgia's historic defense last year. You get what I'm saying? Like that's what I say when I talk about our growing pains and being appreciative of these moments. I think we need to embrace the fact that we literally have a dominant defense right now.
And I am very thankful for that. Now, I guess the pressure is on me offensively. I got a 1A and 1B. 1A goes to Jahmyr Gibbs, 21 carries, 154 yards, 7.3 yards per carry. I said it earlier. He was the offense. He carried the team tonight offensively. If not for Jahmyr Gibbs, good Lord, I don't know what happens. Seth McLaughlin, he's going to be my player every week. Been saying it since off season. I will continue to sing his praises because everything changes on that offensive line when he was put in. Defensive side of the ball, I got to go with 1A, 1B, Brian Branch. Whew,
Oh,
he had a game tonight, man. He was just so pivotal in so many instances. Huh?
I said he was everywhere.
I especially loved when he was tackling in space, behind the line. He had a 6 yard loss to David Ainchain that normal people probably would have gotten faked out. He didn't, man. He handled his business, put him down in the dirt. And I got to give it also to Will Anderson. He may not have connected on his 7 quarterback pressures, but he disrupted things and caused the plays to break down. So those are my players of the game. Well, before we get out of here, Coach Mook, if you would, I want you to talk about your social media, uh, your podcast, everything you're doing, and where people can find you.
Okay, and I appreciate you, Justin, again for having me on this week, man. I love having these. This is basically like barbershop talk, man, and I love it, man. I love how the fans engage, love how the followers engage. My podcast, like I said, man, it's a work in progress. I'm just working up the content, and I don't think I'm going to be doing live anything, but just check out my YouTube channel at Coach Smoot. Um, you also, for all you gamers out there that love the game, come check me out. We always talking trash about Alabama. I have friends that play with me. They talk trash about Alabama, and we get to talk about everything sports wise. At Coach Smoot Gaming on Facebook, and just content, man. If you're looking for content, laughs, and everything, just Coach Smoot on any platform. You're gonna find me acting silly, doing what I do, speaking the truth, speaking my mind, telling it how it is, and supporting TDA, supporting Justin and the Bama Standard. Like I'm all about Alabama football and just sports in general. So if you're looking for just some authentic, no dressed up stuff, check me out, Coach Smook on any platform, man.
Yeah, y'all hit him up. I expect everybody who was here tonight to be on everything he's doing. So make it happen. As far as me, On Tuesday nights, the Bama Standard with the original crew is going to be on TDA, Touchdown Alabama Magazine's YouTube channel, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. It is the perfect show for Alabama fans, if as long as you don't enjoy being politically correct, because we don't do that. We are going to tell it like it is. We may even hurt some feelings. If you're soft, then chances are you probably need to go somewhere else. We will joke on each other, so there is a comedy portion to the show. A lot of things we don't take serious, but it's like being in the locker room. That's exactly what it is. Our panel, all star panel, former Alabama linebacker, all SEC linebacker Marvin Constant, um, former Alabama running back Bo Scarborough, comedy legend Steve Brown, and senior analyst of Touchdown Alabama Magazine Stephen M. Smith. We're running the show. We have Bama Legends on every single week, so you don't want to miss that. Also, on this channel, please hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 1,000. We've got countless clips, player interviews, up-to-date information regarding recruiting, and just all the latest news. We got everything you could possibly want. But listen, we appreciate you being with us in the late hours of the night and helping us kind of calm down after this revenge game. Didn't quite have the flavor or the feel we had hoped that it would, but it's a win nonetheless. And sometimes you just gotta survive. But we really appreciate everybody for jumping on tonight. And we'll see you on Tuesday night. Roll Tide.